Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Robbie Rhino, and in today's video we're going to be having a look at the Centurion Action 10, which is a British tier 10 medium tank, and a tank that I kind of slept on for a while. So I'm just going to show you my equipment setup and my commander skills, and then we'll head on into the replays and I'll talk about the tank. So I run advanced optics, advanced loader, and gun stabilizer, which is a very sort of typical medium tank setup. I want to get that view range up, I want to decrease the reload, and I want to be more accurate. End of story, basically. And the commander skills that I use are Sixth Sense, Born Leader, Rapid Loading, Steady Aim, Rapid Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Situational Awareness, and Camouflage Expertise. And if you go through them, you can see obviously Sixth Sense and Born Leader I always talk about are so important on, every tank. And then I've got the loading, and then I've got 4 gun handling perks, which, because this gun is absolutely phenomenal, I just want to boost it even more. View range is also important, especially at tier 10. You want to be out spotting your opponents and getting that lovely juicy assistance damage. And the Camouflage Expertise, just 10% boost your camouflage factor, meaning that you have that opportunity to outspot tanks or other medium tanks at your tier and sort of heavy tanks. And if you can fire one you're hidden, that's all for the best. So let's head on into the replays and talk about the tanks. So I'll see you there. So we're now in the first replay of the video. We're here on Steps, and this map is fantastic for this tank because it has lots of ridge lines that you can use the fantastic 10 degrees of gun depression that this tank has. So why did I sleep on this tank for so long? It's basically because the Leopard 1 was my first, or one of my first tier 10 tanks, and I think it was my first medium tank at tier 10, and I fell in love with that, and this kind of just looked like a, I don't know, like a poor man's Leopard 1. I know it has the turret armor, but I thought that it was just kind of inferior, which isn't the case. This, it does have that extra armor, slightly less mobility, but it does have a fantastic gun, and it's really enjoyable. Great view range of 410 meters base, which I've got up to about 500 with my commander and equipment setup, and that's just phenomenal. It's a really good all-rounder tank. And yeah, the gun that this tank is the 105 L7A2 with 390 alpha damage. It's got fantastic penetration at 268mm on its standard APCR rounds and 330mm of penetration on its heat rounds. And it also has HESH, which is really useful at 105mm of penetration for 480 alpha damage, meaning if you find lightly armored targets and you can switch to that HESH, you're really devastated. It's a really good option to have, and it's always nice to have tanks that have different ammo choices and ammo for every kind of situation, which this tank does have. I mean, it is a really good all-rounder. The armor that I spoke of earlier, the turret armor, is 254 on the front. You can get that angled well, you can get it up towards 300, and of course tier 10 tank destroyers and medium tanks and that kind of thing are going to penetrate you with ease if they're firing APCR, but it's just the fact that you can get occasional ricochets, and I wouldn't sit out in front of anything, but when you're coming up against tier 8 and 9 tanks, sometimes you do feel confident with this turret armor to sit out and bounce shells. It's extremely maneuverable. It's a 1040 horsepower engine of 18.91 power to weight ratio. You go 53 kilometers an hour forwards, 20 backwards, 50 degrees traverse speed, really maneuverable, really it gets around the battlefield really quickly. And as you can see there, I've gone to one flank and now I'm relocating. It doesn't take too long at all, and I think a sort of medium tank gameplay can be really enjoyable if you've had a bad session playing heavy tanks or slow tanks, that kind of thing. It's really nice to play really mobile tanks because it allows you that flexibility to sort of change flanks, and you don't have to sort of get stuck and bogged down where you are. So more about the gun. Hasn't got the best EPM at tier 10, but it's by no means awful. It has a rate of fire of 6.98, sort of reload base is about 8.6 seconds, but base, the aim time is 2.1 seconds. The gun handling is phenomenal. base accuracy of 0.32, which you get down and it's like a laser pointer basically. It carries plenty of ammunition, it's 68 rounds, and it's just really enjoyable tank. I really like it. Yeah, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So this game we've picked up 2.4k damage already. We've got 482 assistance damage, and as you can see we're winning this game by a fair margin, so I'm just going to use my guns, or my gun depression and my tank's flexibility to get shots in over these ridge lines. I'm up here and I'm sort of at the forefront, but I'm baiting these people, or trying to bait them, and if they come over like that 277 did, they're going to get shot up and wrecked by my team. And the Valor tries to do the same thing, gets ammo racked, and I try and avoid this turret because that was coming towards me, and yeah, didn't want to get taken out that way, although that would have been a great clip for a funny clip montage. But we're just trying to get our last few shells in here. I've seen this IS-7's sort of like three-quarters health, three-quarters health I should say. Gonna come around, get a shot into his track so I get all that lovely juicy assistance damage. Gonna go forwards again, nudge the IS-7, keep his tracks off, put another shot in, and that's all she wrote for this game. But you know, just by pushing at the end there, we got a little bit extra out of that game. We picked up 4.4k direct damage, we got 2 kills, we finished MVP, 1800 assistance, we make some silver. Yeah, and a really good game. A first class, that's a Confederate there and a sniper. Yeah, and these replays will just get ever so slightly better as we go on. So I'm going to head into the second replay now, and I'll see you there in a bit. So we're now in the second replay of the video, and we're here on Duke Pass. And I did say this in the last video, but this is a map really good for this tank, and I think you'll probably find a lot of maps are really good for this tank because it is a very good all-rounder. It might not have quite enough armor to be sort of one of the best all-rounders in the game, but it has that little bit of turret armor. You know, you can side scrape a little bit with this tank. You know, you've got great mobility. The gun is fantastic, good aim time, good gun handling, great penetration, and you've got different kind of rounds for all kinds of scenarios. I think another great thing about this gun is probably the shell velocity. I believe I think it's like 1470. Yeah, it's 1478. As I can just see here on my notes, it's 1478 meters a second on its APCR, which is really nice, meaning you don't have to lead an awful lot, and you match that with the dispersion values and the great gun handling. It means that you don't, you know, it's kind of a bit of like a laser pointer accuracy, and even on the heat and the Hesh rounds, it's 1173 meters a second, so it's very nice in that regards as well. So on this map, on Duke Pass, I've sort of pushed up to this kind of little mid-ridge area here in F4. I'm trying to spot out anything that might be coming sort of towards the north, going towards the northwest. Seeing if I can get a shots on any of these mediums, but I think I've decided now that I'm going to head forward and push a little bit and try and spot out tanks that might be sort of camping along that sort of 7-8 line. That is quite a popular place on this map. If you're not too sort of familiar with this map, tanks like to sort of sit in that sort of area. That's where they kind of spawn, and it's a really sort of good push you can make down here. You have to do it in a fairly mobile tank because, as you can see, we all instantly get spotted and we spot tanks as we push. But we're just going to head to this first little rock here and just tuck in case artillery is aiming at us. We are getting targeted, so something is aiming at us, and I'm just seeing like ahead of me in case it might be sort of towards the front of me. But no shots come in. I'm going to boost my combat rations here just to get a little bit of extra view range out, and then we're going to think about push up even more. And I'm just trying to sort of push my assistance in this game and spot out the tanks, because they've sent a few of their tanks down to that little heavy brawling zone in the 8-9 line, but there is a lot of tanks unspotted still, and I'm just trying to spot them out. And there we go. We push forward and we've spotted the Death Star and that heavy tank there. And I'm still getting targeted, and I think there must be a tank over towards sort of my sort of directly in front of where I am, or just to the left of me I should say. But we're just going to push up to these rocks, and that's what's so good about having this great view range and having really good gun depression, is that I can sit here and I can use these rocks on this ridge line to sort of poke out, get shots like I'm doing now on this 705, sort of fall back and rinse and repeat. And I'm a bit disappointed that I haven't got more assistance damage in this game because of the sort of tanks that I've been lighting up. Usually you have a little bit more of a gun line behind you if you come to this position. A lot of tank destroyers usually like to sort of camp where that line of tanks is behind me. But we do get we do get a nice bit of assistance as that Death Star gets set on fire, and we're just gonna avoid that Jagdpanzer 100 round, which is really fortunate. And we're not gonna sit too long out in front of our opponents. I might miss a few rounds, but I don't really want to lose too many hit points at this early stage in the battle. I'm just going to try and get quick snapshots in where I can, make myself a hard target, and as I'm doing that, a sneaky Borask comes up behind me, and there's also a 705 there. So now I'm going to have to go down here and try and sort of go backwards and forwards, just hoping this 705 like hits my turret, or as he does there, he hits our tracks and we absorb the shell. And now we're going to go to town on this 705, and I'm always keeping an eye out for that Borask, because he reloads relatively quickly, and he's going to come back round with his 2-tap gun and put 2 shots into me. And if he does that, I'm just going to try and take him out of the game, because he's a really sneaky tank, plays kind of like a light tank as well, and he'll be really annoying for me and my team. So we get a shot into the Borask, and he bounces both of his shells. We also bounce from the Leopard prototype, and this is what I mean about it being kind of an all-rounder kind of tank. It has that ability to absorb and bounce shells, but it also has the firepower to fight back. Hasn't got the best DPM, like I said in the first replay, but it's got enough penetration, enough alpha, and enough DPM just to stop people pushing around and all-in you. It still happens, of course, but it's a little bit more of a deterrent than some tanks. So we're still spotting the tanks behind us. We're going to try and help our tank finish that 705 off, but we haven't got a shot, so we're going to push round. That 705 gets finished off by our friendly artillery. We were going to push around and try and get another shot into that Borask, but that Jagdpanzer 100 is overlooking, and that's not a tank I want to mess around with just at the moment. I've still got 1248 hit points to play with, but as you can see, we're having a fairly decent game, and I just want to try and push those numbers up a little bit more. So we picked up 4.7k combined so far. Blocked 2090, which I wouldn't expect to do that all the time in this tank, but it does have that capability with the great turret. We're still spotting that Jagdpanzer 100. He's getting shots into him, and we're just going to try and flank around now. And we've I don't think we spotted it because that heavy tank's over there, but we've got shots into the FV405 and the Samura SM. Get one into the FV405 but missed the second, the Samura SM. And now we're going to see how well I do it. It's shooting. Fortunately, the Borask gets tracked there in the open, and we have enough alpha damage to finish that Borask off. Now we have shots here into the Samura. We're not going to have to move here. We're going to stay at range and get shots in. I get a bit frustrated there. I just really poorly aimed it, and I think there's a slight rock there or ridgeline that I'm not kind of factoring in. I don't think I saw it until I fired that last shell on the FV405, but it looks as though the FV405 might reverse back up, but he doesn't. So we're going to change our attentions back to that 705, I think. See what else we can spot on the way. Enhance our combat rations again just to boost up the range just that little bit more, and we spot up that Jagdpanzer 100 again. Unfortunately, he's backing into cover, and this game is quite close. We're only down by 1 tank, so it's 6 against 5, and I don't want to sort of be too reckless and throw the game away, but I do want to try and push the tempo a little bit and use my tank's capabilities of spotting the enemy team to my team's advantage. So we're going to push up, trying to make sure we're going from like rock to rock and not just out in the middle of the field, trying to make sure that if we get spotted there is somewhere we can duck into for cover. And we're going to try and get a shot into that Leopard prototype as he retreats. Unfortunately, I aim like a potato and missed that shot, and hopefully we're going to get another shot here. Opportunity, but I am aware that there is that FV405 I think still out there, or yeah, it is the FV405, and I don't want to get a shot into the side of my turret, because if it's Hesh or whether it's AP, that is probably going to penetrate and finish me off. So I'm poking up now and I'm not getting spotted, so I'm thinking like maybe this is my time to push forward. Just going to wait here and see if this Armour SM goes through this gap and get a shot in. Unfortunately, there's sort of a wreck in the way and I can't get a shot as he goes through that gap. And I'm just going to fall back as we're being targeted, and I don't want to get a shot, like I said, by the FV4005, which is straight in front of me, or that Leopard prototype. The FV4005 fires, so now's my time to pop up and get a shot into his turret. We do, and now he's on a one shot. And I misplay quite badly towards the end of this game. I do have hit points, so I'm not overly worried at the moment. But as you'll see, I just make the wrong decisions. I don't do anything reckless, I don't think. I just don't act like I should have done. We get one shot into the Leopard prototype. Unfortunately, we missed our second, and he's going after our TD. He's on 800 hit points. Just trying to feather another shot in. It's kind of difficult to see through there. There was like buildings there sort of covering a few of the avenues, but we get a second shot in. Get a third shot in. He's now left on 38 hit points. We've now picked up 5k direct damage and 2.8k assistance, so it's been a great game regardless, but I still want to try and take down this game. I was hoping that our Iron Ring would get the shot in as that Leopard prototype advanced, but unfortunately he doesn't. I'm staying in this position because the Leopard prototype's on the move and I feel like I could finish him off. Try and guess where he went as he went unspotted, but unfortunately we missed that shot, and it's just me and this heavy tank left. So I'm going to try and head over towards this Super Conqueror who is on a one shot, try and assist him with the Armour SM and the FV4005. I was just really hoping that this Super Conqueror will try and stay hidden and allow me time. I say I'm on my way just to let the Super Conqueror know that I'm coming over to help, hoping that he won't get shut down. I'm going to try and get behind these tanks, but unfortunately as I get sort of to this ridge line and as I've made my push, it's a little bit too late now. For me to go back. Now the FV4005 knows where I am. So we finish off the Armour SM, and what I should have done there is gone straight forward and just tried to go round and use my speed to out-traverse the FV4005. Because he's on a one shot, I could have maybe even taken a shot if he didn't pen a Hesh round. Unfortunately I stayed where I was, and now I've taken a shot from the Leopard prototype and from the TVP. I've stayed where I am, and now there are 3 tanks sort of surrounding me, and I didn't act quick enough, and that's what I meant about my misplay. We get shot from behind us. The FV4005 misses us. We lose our ammo rack. We missed our shot on the TVP earlier, and then we get shut down by the Leopard prototype. And yeah, that's my bad. Don't play like I did there. You try and make a firm decision of what you're going to do and just stick with it. Should have gone forwards and tried to take out that FV4005, but we have a fairly good result nonetheless. We finish top of the team with 7.8k combined damage and 2 kills, and as you can see there, it's quite an even game and a very, very enjoyable game. Just a shame we couldn't take down the result. So that's it for that replay, and we're going to head on into the third one, so see you there in a bit. So this is the third and final replay of the video, and this is on Fred Vang before it was taken out of rotation for World War II. And this was probably the only Cold War map that I really liked, kind of especially in a mobile tank at tier 10, but I understand obviously it was really frustrating in super heavies and really slow like tank destroyers like T95, that kind of thing. So I understand why it was taken out of rotation, and you know, some battles were really quick where everyone congregated, but some, you know, like it took too long, you ran out of time, and yeah, it just didn't work. But it provides really nice like sight lines to use tanks like the Centurion Action 10 that have really, really good view range. And I'm going to come to the position that I really like on this map for spotting out, especially on encounter, because tanks are going to be trying to head over that sort of northern area towards the cap. So I'm going to keep poking up here and seeing what I can spot. I have enough view range just to reach that hill just to the left of me in the distance. Just about. If they have sort of poor camera ratings, I might be able to spot them. I'm just going to keep trying to poke up and getting some spots off and getting some shots in where I can. I am aware that there is one artillery on the enemy team, so every time I'm spotted I'm trying to just dip down the hill so they have a harder shell trajectory to try and hit me. We pick up a lovely bit of assistance as our artillery hits, I think it was a bat shot there that was spotted. We're going to quickly go over, snap a shot into that 4502B, and that's just shows you how great that shell velocity is of nearly 1500 meters a second, because we auto-aimed that just because I didn't want to take the time aiming, because I didn't want to get shot at by undetected tanks, and it still flew true even though he was moving, albeit at a slow pace. But now we spotted there's a tank destroyer there, the 268 version 5, and I don't really want to pop over because even with my turret I feel like with his great penetration and his massive alpha damage he's probably going to penetrate me, so I'm just going to try and keep these tanks lit and hopefully let my teammates to the left of me and my artillery who is sitting in B3 go to work. So as that 268 version 5 has started to move, I was trying to get a shot in, but he swivels around and faces us, and again I don't really want to lose any hit points just yet, so I'm going to fall back and try and get shots into tanks that have pushed a little bit too far down. That Stritzvon K obviously doesn't realise that I have shots here on that ridge line. He's tracked, we get a second shot in, he's now on a one shot, and with our combat rations boosted you can see my reload is down to 6 seconds, which is really good, and we finish off that Stritzvon K in no time, taking our damage total to 1300 and our assistance to 1100. There's a machine here who is tucked up behind that rock, I'm just waiting for him to push forward. We get a lovely shot there showing how good this accurate gun is, just into the side of his turret, and that made him a one shot, and the chieftain, or the Valor, or whatever you want to call it, takes that tank out. Gonna switch our attention now, and this is why this position was really good. It's still a really dominant position in Cold War. Obviously you've got lots of view range towards the four corners of the map, and you don't have to relocate far to be able to get shots into tanks that are spotted. We're just going to try and sort of get a little pixel shot here onto the top of the Rinoceronte, and even for me maybe that was too chancy. I do take chancy shots, but you know I obviously wasn't feeling too lucky at that moment in time. But we're having a fairly decent start to the game, and we still got all our hit points, so we're just going to try and push forward ever so slightly. We're going to slow down a little bit just to get the dispersion down a little bit and the gun bloom, and fire a shot on the move into that 50 TP prototype. Unfortunately, just as we move, that tank destroyer gets spotted behind us, so we're going to carry on going, firing on the move, and that's where those commander skills like run and gun come into effect. Get a second shot into that 50 TP prototype, and he gets taken out of the game by the chieftain, and we're going to turn back now and try and finish off this 268 version 5, and then we're going to probably head towards like D6, D7, where that hill is, and maybe overlook the cap and try and defend the cap. It is encountered, so I'm not too worried about anyone capping us out too quickly. Obviously the timing is longer, but I do want to get into a position where I am able to defend it if the need should arise. So I'm not getting targeted from this position, so I feel like there's nothing sort of directly to the left of me, so I'm going to come up behind this Rinoceronte, going to get one shot in, and this is why this map is also very good. If you can find sort of maps with good ridgelines here, I mean I did pick up too far and showed him at part of my hole, but if I went into this dip like I am now, just showing him my turret, I wouldn't have got shot. Finish off the Rinoceronte and get lucky that T92 only splashes us, and we get our payback on the piggy though, finishing that T92 off. And now we're gonna head up on towards the sort of the starting of this hill here, and see if we can defend the cap. Just having a quick look to see if there's anything above me, and there is. Unfortunately we missed the E4, go too far forwards. However, we do spot the E4 and we get some assistance for it, and we get a revenge shot in, and now that E4 was a one shot. There's a general, there's a tier 8 Czechoslovakian medium tank, premium tank, who is an autoloader, 3-shot autoloader, coming after us. We get one shot in, and then we finish him off as he tries to escape the hill because he was getting shot at by my team. So as you can see, we've picked up now, as that goes forward, 8.2k combined damage, and that ended really quickly, but we got a nice bit of damage and assistance at the end there. 4.4k direct and 3.8k base, make some nice silver, 4 kills, master badge, ace tanker, sniper medal, and another great game that shows you what you can do with this really enjoyable mobile tank with a great gun. 1600 base XP, always nice finishing MVP, and yeah, I hope that shows you what you can do with this tank. Let me know what you think of it. I hope you're all having a great weekend. Thanks for watching my channel and supporting me. I'll see you on the battlefield. I'll see you on the battlefield, and bye for now.